What's poppin', guys, and welcome back to the second faction feature for Astronomica's second set, Hyperia's Fallen. Today's video will be focusing on the Rebels. Let's get started. Alright guys, let's talk Rebels. The Rebels are a group of demonstrators turned freedom fighters after Saber Industries begins a campaign to quote-unquote clean up the city. These cards are cross-factional, but you'll mainly see them in the Legion Corps, with a few major cards across the other two factions. Their playstyle is based on getting benefits the more rebels you control, or have played in the game. But without further ado, let's get right into the cards. I have 8 to show you today, and if at any point you like what you're seeing, remember to subscribe and like the video. It's free to do, and it means a lot. The first common I want to talk about is a card named Rebellion Conscript. He's a Babylon Force no effect unit, which costs 1 iron and 3 attack. Here, I mainly wanted to show you him to show you the type line. He's a Orc Rebel, and like the Senators, it's a second type on the card. He's a decent beatstick kind of unit and could maybe help you play an Orc variant. Our next common is Insurgent Blade, a Legion Corps 3 attacker with a 1 iron cost and who is a human rebel. She has the ability to turn into a permanent 4 attacker if she's played in front of another rebel. This is a simple effect that highlights a bit of the strategy of the deck. If you control another rebel in the row, she becomes a 1 cost 4 attacker with no drawback. The only card close is Babel Berserker from set 1. Next up is Renegade Archer, our first Kikitos Council rebel, and he's a 2 attack 1 runestone Hellion rebel who can attack units in the back row. He's also drawn by Sin Mango, creator of Oversoul. This is a great card if your opponent plays a unit like Selena in the back of a column, a unit which you basically have to protect. Archer can go through that, so it makes him a cool side deck card, even in decks that aren't rebels. It can help you deal with strategies that protect weak units. Our first uncommon is Rebellion Beacon, and it requires you to discard a card and to flip a planet face down in order to add a rebel unit from your deck to your hand. Beacon is the first real search card in the game, but it has a decent amount of drawbacks. It's definitely a card I might be fine-tuning again a bit closer to release, so keep an eye out for that. But I think either way, it's a pretty solid card even as is. Grabbing any rebel in your deck is a pretty good effect. Our last uncommon today is a card named Camus Rebellion Backer, a 2 attack elf rebel that costs 1 gold and 1 Arlight, and allows you to draw a card if you have 3 or more rebels in your discard pile. Camus can pretty much replace himself and give you a unit on the board when you're either falling behind or are trying to capitalize on all of your destroyed units. And for you eagle-eyed viewers, this is a new version of Camus Ace Capitalist, a character from set 1. Now let's finish it up with the big boys. First up, Ansem and Gage are both drawn by the awesome Julian Fengolio, and I'll have a link to his Instagram in the description below. Rebellion leader Ansem is a Babylon Force 3 attacker Draken rebel who costs 1 iron and 1 mithril, and gives your rebels all an immunity to attack changing effects, along with making himself immune to ongoing events. Ansem is a sledgehammer that can punch through control cards and control decks that use cards like Rune Tech Rift or Force Feedback. He's the type of card that can go into a lot of decks, but he's very much at home here in Rebels. Moving on over to Rebellion leader Gage, she's a 3 attack elf rebel in the Legion Corps, which costs 1 gold and 1 Arlight. And when played, it allows the unit you control to deal double damage when it attacks this turn. At first glance, she may seem like a weaker Ephemeral Breaker, but she's actually a lot more flexible. While Breaker can't move and needs that turn to set up and can therefore be blocked, you could drop Gage and use their effect on a unit that can attack that turn, allowing you to surprise your opponent with a sudden 2 damage. Finally, the last card we have to talk about is our first super rare of set 2, Odessa Rebellion Martyr. She is a 3 attack fairy rebel from the Kikitos Council who costs 1 Arlight and 1 runestone, and she has the aura ability to give all rebels +1 attack, and you can destroy her to protect one of your other units. Odessa is a very flexible card because she can protect any unit, not just a rebel, and comes in at 4 attacks since she boosts herself. You can use her effect to protect your weaker units like Selena, Morgana, or Meteoric Dragon. Definitely a great card, worthy of being the first super rare to show off. Lastly, for those who have kept a close eye open again, this is in fact a new version of Angelic Revenant from set 1. There's a lot of characters from set 1 showing up in set 2, so keep an eye open. The Rebels are a versatile group of cards, and there are more of them to discover in this set, including another super rare in the starter kit that I'll show closer to release. But that's all the time we have today. If you made it this far, let me know what your favorite card is. Subscribe, like the video if you loved it, and until then, stay wavy.